Hi, I'm Jordan Best. I live and work in Covington, Kentucky, and this is my story. I'm from a small town in south central Kentucky, Jamestown, Kentucky. I've got a big family. I'm the oldest of 8, a bit of a blended family, half brothers and half sisters. I never really had a scientific passion or anything like that. I was more into literary and things like that growing up. Was a decent student. It kind of came easy to me enough to where I could make A's and B's, middle school, high school, without really applying myself. Was more interested in playing sports, played baseball, basketball, football, things like that. So I would have rather been doing those things than applying myself as closely as I should have in the classroom. From there, I went to Lindsey Wilson College, played baseball and football for a year. Looking back, I don't think I was quite ready to get out on my own in college. Didn't handle the freedom very well and ended up dropping out. Really kind of took a look at my situation and wondered what I wanted to do. Got blessed with an opportunity where my friend's father was opening a similar laboratory to the one I work at currently in my hometown. I started working there at 19, mostly doing clerical things, matching up paperwork, filing, things like that. And got bored with that pretty quickly and started looking kind of over my shoulder to the laboratory and thought that it may interest me a little more than what I was doing. So asked a few questions, got into the lab on the data entry side, which is we call our accessioning department here. From there, I kind of learned a little bit more about the business and just what all it entailed. Didn't take me long to get bored there, moved on, and then I moved into the laboratory, into a similar position that I'm doing now. I was responsible for maintaining the LC-MS instruments, similar role to what I do now, just not as much with the screening, really. So I got laid off there and I moved to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and this is around 2015, and I wanted to use my lab experience there, but with no degree and only 1 to 2 years of lab experience, I didn't have any luck finding a lab job, so I was forced to work in a factory as a production team member. I was fortunate enough to receive a phone call from one of my mentors from my first lab job, and he asked if I was interested in relocating to Covington and working at Gravity, and I came up and toured. Everything went really well and then ended up moving up about 2 weeks later. Gravity is a full-service laboratory. We have pretty humble beginnings. We started as just kind of a one-room toxicology laboratory that has grown into, a lab that offers COVID testing along with toxicology and serology and pharmacogenetics. I'm a laboratory technician. In toxicology, we do urine and oral tox, which would be spit. I know elsewhere in the lab we can do nasal swabs, oral swabs, and blood. We do oral drug testing the same way we do for urine drug testing. We test for our, 56 drug panel. Our screening process can vary from sample to sample. It's kind of whatever the doctor wants. We can do up to 14 tests per screen, or we can do as little as 4. Pack of 9 tubes might take 45 minutes to finish. Typically, our screening instruments are running from about 9 a.m. daily to about 5:30 to 6 p.m. nightly. Like, we do all the infectious disease testing. Like, prior to COVID, we might get 2 or 3 a month. And then, at the peak of COVID, we were receiving 25,000 samples a day. We have a number of different clients, ranging from just regular doctor's offices to pain management clinics to opioid treatment facilities and other rehab type places. There are instances where our work helps people, reunite with their families, get back to having some type of sustainability in their own life. My job as a laboratory technician can be different from day to day. Typically, I will operate on indico screening analyzers. It gives us a qualitative result on our urine samples that kind of measures validity, whether the sample is real or not. They take several consumables. We'll fill them with water and a plastic tray where the test happens. It's called a cuvette. I will load a sample, and it'll take part of the sample on one side and part of a reagent for a corresponding drug on the other side, and it'll mix them together in this cuvette. And from there, a ray of light will come out from the inside of the instrument and refract off of that sample, and based off of that wavelength, we can tell whether it's positive or negative. It's our first step to make sure that we've got a reliable sample. Typical day is, I come in about 7. I feel like I'm one of the first ones here, which I enjoy that. I'll get everything kind of set up the way that I like it. I'll start doing my daily quality control testing on my screening instrument to assure that everything that is running is up to spec and that we're not sending out any faulty results or anything like that. From there, once I pass off on the QC, we will start loading patient samples. A typical day for us will be anywhere from about 250 upwards to 500 urine samples. Throughout the day, I will act as a liaison between our data entry office and our laboratory for any clerical errors that we might see with the patient samples. From there on out, I just kind of keep an eye on our instruments, make sure they're running. There are a few things, emptying waste and adding water and stuff like that throughout the day. But from there, we have what we call a prep in the afternoon, which is more pertaining to the LCMS instruments. I will assist our other techs in any way that they might need with that. And then our end goal is to try to get out of here, get finished around 4 o'clock, get our trays onto the LCMS instruments, and everything kind of runs overnight while we're gone. Just getting to work with expensive instrumentation, just nice things like that has been kind of an interesting part of it. Like whenever I'll place an order for some of our laboratory stuff and it'll total $20,000 and it's just kind of a normal thing now. That part is kind of neat, just seeing how much things cost. I think the skills that are most important for my job are punctuality, being reliable, showing up. I know my team knows that I'm going to be here every day and they know that I'm going to work as hard as I can and to make it easy for all of us. Just being flexible, being willing to just jump in and do any job, whether I've done it before or not, has helped. Multitasking, I say, would be another useful skill, just because I may, like for instance, I'll be servicing all 3 of my instruments and then something else might happen, so you kind of got to have your head on the swivel and be able to do more than one thing at a time. One of my favorite parts of my job would be being able to see the impact that I've had on my community, just from people in the streets talking about, that they take part in this program, and I know in the back of my head, okay, so we do testing for them. So if I'm doing a good job and I'm doing everything that I need to do, then hopefully this person and these other people down the line can benefit. Where I am originally from, it's not as much of a tight-knit community, and then moving here I think has kind of woke me up to the impact that I could have on my neighbors and my peers and my employees, just by kind of going out of my way to try to improve the area where I live. And I feel like if I can do that, then it might inspire somebody else to do the same, and then we can incrementally change things. Moving back to the medical field has improved my life in various ways, not only through just quality of life. I feel much healthier. I'm in a healthier work environment. While I'm at work, I don't have to want for anything. I'm provided with all the tools that I need to succeed, as well as giving me opportunities with community outreach and ways for me to better my environment around me that I wouldn't have got those opportunities at any of my other jobs. My relationship with my peers is one of my favorite parts about working here. I know I'm 29 and I'm one of the older ones on my team, so it's a very refreshing environment to be around, people your age or even younger, and I feel like it's more conducive to new ideas, and things don't, we're a little more open to change, I feel like, than other places with different cultures. It's really nice. I've got to meet people from all walks of life, from big cities, small towns. Where I'm from, I was more of a racial minority, I would say, than I am even in just the broader sense. Just from a very small town where really the only black or mixed kids was me and my family. Moving to Covington has been a gratifying experience, just because I feel like I'm able to be around more people like myself as opposed to where I was brought up. Working at Gravity has been nice because I can see the opportunities for all types of people. I'm judged based on my merit and the job that I do, not who I am or what I look like. I would tell 14-year-old Jordan, focus more in school, be more studious. I know it seems boring and it's maybe a cliche thing to say, but just seeing the differences in how many commas my check could have on it if I had a degree, as opposed to now just not having one. Even though I know the same things that I would know, those things do add up over time. They can get you into rooms that you want to be in. but more so I would say be more open to any opportunity. Don't put yourself in a corner. Don't set too narrow of a focus on what you think you want to do, because there's a million things in between here and there. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions about my job as a laboratory technician at Gravity Diagnostics, you can reach out to your teacher and they can get in touch with me.